Peace and Islam. We got a quick moon day lesson. Shouldn't be too long. In this one, we're going to talk about after Isa Emanu rise to the level of martyr in the ancient Musalim temples. And this one when he get out. So we got Jesus in Bethlehem explains the empire of peace to the shepherds. And a usual light appears. The shepherds recognize Jesus as the Messiah. Remember, our morning Sundays lessons is the religion that we profess in our temples. It's like you got professions and church and in mosque and in synagogue. Welcome to a temple of America where Moorish Americans confess and profess their religion. It's a temple, right? Let's begin. The Logos, or the Circle 7, went to Bethlehem, and many people followed him. He found the shepherd's home, where he was cradled as a babe. Here he abode. So he went back to his old crib. He was born at. The place he was born. He went up to the hill where more than 30 years before the shepherd watched their flocks and heard the messenger of the peace exclaim. At midnight in a cave in Bethlehem, the Prince of Islam was born. And shepherds still were there, and sheep still fed upon the hills. And remember, every time you see things like Jesus, Prince of Islam, or the Logos, we're talking about you today. It says that we go back to the ways of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, and that's what we're doing. So they say, and in the valley near great flocks of snow white doves were flying to and fro. And when the shepherds knew that Jesus, when the people called the king, whom the people called the king, right, had come, and they came from near and far to speak to him. And Jesus said to them, behold, a life of innocence and peace. See, about teach them about the empire. White is the symbol of the virtuous and pure, the lamb of innocence, the dove of peace. And it was meet that love should come to human form amid such senses as these. And that's talking about you. You born to be manifestations of love. Our father Abraham walked through these vales and these very hills. He watched his flock and herds. And here it was that one, the Prince of Islam, the King of Salim, came, the Messiah in human form, a greater far than Abraham was he. And here it was that Abraham gave to this King of Salim tithes of all he had. This Prince of Islam went forth in battle everywhere, but he had no sword, no armor of defense, no weapon of offense. And that's what we get mandated to go into jihad. But we ain't without no swords, no armor, no shields. We got only things we got is knowledge to fight with. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice to fight with. And yet he conquered men, and nations trembled at his feet. The hosts of Egypt coiled before the sturdy king of right. The king of right. The kings of Egypt placed their crown upon his head. So the empire been transferred to him, because he understood the empire within and without, and gave into his hand the scepter of all Egypt land, the world. and not a drop of blood was shed. And not a captive placed in chains. So you see, when we say things as we conquer the world, different from where Rome talking about. Because Rome, you're gonna have blood and captives when they say they conquer the world. But everywhere the conqueror threw wide the prison doors and set the captives free. And captives, not. Alright, where we been at? Breaking down this metaphysics, right? Religion, true religion. That you ain't gotta go through for 50 years to a middleman to get you between you and your God. We're gonna show you how to get there in a few videos. We definitely don't need ties. See, but everywhere the conqueror threw wide the prison doors and set the captives free. And once again, the Prince of Islam has come. And from these blessed hills, he goes again to fight. And he is clothed in white. Remember, it's all the Moors of Morocco, all those chiefs. And they wear all white robes. That's why. Seems to be the same people going through time. So people waiting for Jesus to come back, but he already back. And he called a Moorish American who got his science. He understands this. Then he back. What you waiting for? It's metaphysics, not physics. His sword is truth. His shield is faith. His helmet is innocence. His breath is love. His watchword is peace. But this is not a carnal war. It is not a man at war with man, but it is a right against the wrong. That's all. And love is captain. Love is warrior. Love is armor. Love is all. And love shall win. And then again, the host of Bethlehem will clothe with light. Again, the messenger exclaimed, peace. Peace on earth, goodwill to man. And that's Islam on earth. The way we see it, that's Islam on earth. Alright? So people be want to know about Islam conquering other lands and stuff like that. That's the physical stuff you see on TV. When we talk about that, we talk about peace on earth. Islam means peace, period. And Jesus taught the people, healed the sick, revealed the mysteries of the kingdom of the Holy One, and many said he is the Messiah, the messenger. The king who was to come has come. Praise Allah. And then we're going to go through this part and get another lesson out of this. Jesus in Hebron, he goes to Bethany, advises Ruth regarding certain family troubles. With 3 disciples, Jesus went to Hebron, where he tarried 7 days and taught. And then he went to Bethany, and in the home of Lazarus he taught. The evening, see, everywhere he taught, he in the Musalim Temple of America, of Jerusalem at that time. But in our lesson books, it is said that wherever 2 or more Moors meet, we in the Musalim Temple having a meeting. Wherever that could be, under the tree, in the sacred grove, schools in session. The evening came, the multitudes were gone, and Jesus, Lazarus, and his sisters, Martha, Ruth, and Mary were all alone. And Ruth was sore distressed. Her home was down in Jericho. And then this is a good lesson for Moorish Americans. We deal with this, and either in our family, our spouses, or even with other Moors who ain't as conscious of this knowledge, right? So let me show you how he deal with her grief, so her distress. So her home was down in Jericho. Her husband was the keeper of an inn. His name was Asher ben. Now Asher was a Pharisee of strictest. Let's leave that right there. Right, keep your dictionary wide open. and you can get the modern day versions of these things. You can modernize these things. We ain't want to leave nothing spooky for you, like my man at the church every Sunday to keep you coming back. He's a separatist. Parush. Parus. The one who was separated from a life of purity. A man of the ancient Jewish political party. So they've been a party, a social movement, and a school of thought among the Jews that flourished during the Second Temple era. The movement was ultimately basis for the contemporary forms of Judaism, so they've been the ones forming the religious doctrines. The person who valued the letter of the law over its spirit and intention. So those people who strict in the mind and leaving out the heart. We alright? In our religions, we work with our mind and our heart together. The Mother, Holy Breath, and the Father's power and woe. So he was a Pharisee of the strictest mean and thought, and he regarded Jesus with disdain. So you see, he regards the unseen things, the things like love and stuff that we can't really explain and see with a logical understanding. A lot of these emotions, these spirits, like we talked about in the other video, the 14 spirits, 7 virtuous spirits and the 7 sins. These things is what the Pharisees think they can understand purely and 100% with their logic. So it's strict as means. And he regarded Jesus with disdain, so he's been ahead of that man. and you know you're dealing with this now. You're going to deal with this, especially calling yourself a Moorish American. You're going to deal with this constantly from Romans, black and white Romans. It's going to be you're going to look at that and wonder why, because no other nation on the planet got to deal with that type of stuff. But you whoa. So that's how you deal with it. And when his wife confessed her faith in the Messiah, he drove her from his home. But Ruth resisted not. She said, if Jesus is the Messiah, he knows the way, and I am sure he is the Messiah. So she's going against her husband. My husband may become enraged and slay my human form, but he cannot kill the soul, and in many mansions of my mother and fatherland I have a dwelling place. And Ruth told Jesus all, and then she said, what shall I do? And Jesus, then he about to explain to her. And that's how we need to look at things. Not just this example. It's going to be a million examples of this. And remembering the story is going to help you deal with these. Because she needs to understand. She don't really understand. That's why she asked him, what shall she do? So that's what Jesus do. That's what Jesus would do. Like the bumper sticker said, what would he do? So he said, and Jesus said, your husband is not willingly at fault. He is devout. He prays to God, our Father God Almighty. So basically, even though he's a hater against him, he's still giving him that benefit of a doubt that he do his thing and his way. His zeal for his religion is intense, and this he is sincere, but it has driven him insane. So what that means is he's so devout that his mind closed to anything else. So in our religion, we keep our minds open because knowledge is infinite. We always seek to learn new things, seek other things. We don't close our minds to one thing, to anything. So that causes devoutness, where you blind yourself to everything except for that religion or that doctrine or belief. So it will drive you insane. And that's what we think people is when they very devout. We look at them as insane, right? And he believes it is right to keep his home unsullied by the heresy of the Messiah. So you see, and he telling her that that's how he see me, and that's his right. He said he believes it's right to keep his home unsullied from any other what he called it heresy, because that's going out, anything outside your circle would be heresy. You bringing in new outside influences into your home. And that's something you shouldn't do, really. But your circle got to be willing to see things outside that circle so that you may bring in new, great ideas within that circle and not bring in the bad. So in his mind, it's the bad that he try to keep out of her circle. So ain't nothing wrong with that, right? It's what he believed to be bad. So you got to understand, you can't, just because you believe something to be right, you can't expect other people to believe what you believe, regardless of how right you think you is. You only can tell them, but you can't make them believe it. So he feels assured that he has done the will of the Almighty in driving you away. Intolerance is ignorance matured. So you see, intolerance, that means not being able to tolerate those things that you don't like or you don't believe. It's just ignorance matured, just the things that you don't get or know over time being matured. The light will come to him someday, and then he will repay for all your headaches, griefs, and tears. He will repay you for all your headaches, griefs, and tears. And Ruth, you must not think that you are free from blame. So you see, he ain't about to just go in on this man. He about to let the whole truth be known. If you had walked in wisdom's ways and have been content to hold your peace, this grief will not have come to you. It takes a long time for light to break into the shell of prejudice. So you see, my man, prejudice being prejudging him and his message. He ain't taking the time to get an understanding. His wife take the time to do. He ain't getting an understanding. His prejudice blocking him for him even listening to Ruth, because Ruth trying to teach him what Jesus teaching her. But it's a hard shell to crack, prejudice. And patience is the lesson you need to learn. So she need patience. Don't try to force something. I understand you got that zeal now. I give you this game. You want everybody to get it. You want your mama to get it. Your son, your children to get it. You know, the people around you to feel what this freedom feel like, right? But that just basically for you. Let the light, let them learn at their own pace. That's what he's saying. Don't try to force it. Regardless of how good it is, of a starving person want to eat, you still can't force the bread down the person's throat. You gotta want that, right? So the constant dropping off the water wears away the hardest storm. That's true. That patience that a water got, you can create a whole mountain just by rain over time. But you will struggle if you try to carve that rock yourself with the sharpest weapons quickly, right? The sweet and holy incense of a godly life will melt intolerance much quicker than the hardest flame or hardest blow. So instead of telling him, love the way and let him see the examples, right? Just love, you take the messages and work with your inner circle, yourself. The ones around you gonna catch on and say, well, how you got so much peace in life, so much happiness, and now they open you up to tell them the way. Yeah. Just wait a little time and then go home with sympathy and love. Talk not of the Messiah nor of the kingdom of heaven. So stop talking to him about it, right? Don't make him angry again. Just go in there and love as a holy woman. Just live a godly life. Refrain from harshness in your speech, and you will lead your husband to the light. And it was so. That's a quick one. Again, all these lessons got a million meanings. You got the biological, astrological, and you yourself, no matter what time period. The lessons and the spirits still within us today, right? We talk, this is a 2,000-year-old story, but this can relate to every man and woman today. So, I'll see you in the next temple meeting. We can learn more about Islamism. Peace.